being addicted to alcohol is literally like being in a prison that you have no idea that you're even in. And that's probably one of the biggest revelations that I've had since I stopped drinking. And the best way I can explain that is the entire time I was addicted to alcohol, I lived a really good life. I mean, I really enjoyed my life. I didn't drink because I was depressed or stressed out. I've been blessed. I've been very lucky to just have a really good life. I've been very functional. I've been able to accomplish a lot of good things. I've had good jobs. I've been able to make more money, far more money than I need. I literally now, and I got to where I'm at now while I was an alcoholic, but like now I literally have a dream job. I could go on and on and on. Just reflecting back, I've got a very good and easy life, compared to the vast majority of people. And that's sort of what I find so dangerous about alcohol too, is you can build such a good life, and it can look so productive and so good along the way while you're an alcoholic, while you're a highly functioning alcoholic, which is what I was. Now, I was killing myself physically, and I spoke about that in my last video. If you're interested in that, I highly recommend going back and checking that video out. There's a lot of good information in there. But I was physically killing myself. But mentally, now I started drinking because of stress. I remember the exact moment, honestly. And this actually, there's a good takeaway from this for every kind of addiction. So I started drinking, and I remember the moment. I was in my early 20s. And I got married way before I had any business getting married. I was young and very inexperienced, ignorant to life. And anyways, I ended up going through a divorce, not very long after getting married. And I didn't really know how to cope with the stress of that. And I remember one night having a drink. Now, I would drink like just socially up to that point, at least for the few years that I was able to drink. I was in my early 20s after all. So I remember I had a couple of drinks. We were getting ready to go somewhere. It was actually who became my ex-wife and I. We're getting ready to go somewhere. Things were not great between us. And I had a few drinks, and I just remember how good that felt. And like all of a sudden, it was like all of the stress in my life just totally just melted away for that minute. And so when I say that this can be related to other addictions, you hear that, you get high for the first time, and then you spend the rest of the time that you're addicted chasing that high. And that's exactly what that was for me. I remember that feeling. Now it's been almost 20 years ago. I remember that one instance, that one feeling, and then I spent 15 years trying to chase that. Now, yes, alcohol helped relieve some anxiety in the very short term going through that situation. That entire situation completely resolved itself within probably 6 months to a year. But how do I explain the next 14 years after that? Literally chasing that high. And I'm here to tell you, you're never going to find that high again. It's sorry, not sorry. That's just how it is. But I really had a great life, had a good life, very little stress. I mean, I've lived the human experience. I've had stress. I've had things happen. However, I've not dealt with depression or anxiety or all of the things that a lot of people drink because of, or think that they're drinking because of, or anything like that. So I really had a good life. I was continuing to drink, and I actually, through drinking, was making friends. That's what I did, was I drank. And I knew that I had a problem drinking. And the first time that I really understood that I had a problem drinking is when I realized that everything I was doing in my life was literally to it. So any, how do I say this? Any event, say we're going to a concert, the concert always became secondary to drinking. Drinking was always the main event in everything I did. It could be going to play putt-putt golf. It could be going to dinner. It could be going to a movie. It didn't matter. Drinking was always the main event, and myself and my friends, we always just did the other stuff around drinking, which was, it totally took away from a lot of those experiences. As you could imagine, say you go to a concert and you're, trying to enjoy a concert, but really in the back of your head the whole time you're thinking, well, it's about time to go get another drink, so then you're missing stuff, stressing out about, keeping that buzz going. And it was just that whole thing. Once I realized that drinking was always the main event in my life and everything else I did just happened to, I would do that while I was drinking. That's when I realized that it was a problem. And I knew that many years before I quit drinking. And I tried to quit. I say I tried to quit. I thought that I was going to quit, literally every day for probably a decade. I remember I'd wake up, obviously hungover most days, just feeling like crap, gotta go to work, just telling myself on the ride to work that, oh, I'm done. I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm not going to drink anymore. And sure enough, by the time that afternoon rolled around, I was right back at it. So I pretty much quit every single day for 1,000 days. But, I only succeeded on the 1,001st time that I actually quit drinking. But when I say that alcohol is like a prison that you don't even know you're in, that's the you don't know you're in it part. Life can be really good. I've literally built a really nice life for myself. Again, I've got a dream job. I've got nothing real to complain about. I'm blessed far beyond what I deserve. I have more than what I need. Yet I had, while I was drinking, the same things, yet I continued to drink. And even with all of that said, and this is the part that makes me realize that I was in a prison, is with this great life that I had, this just super enjoyable experience I was living, I knew, I could feel at times my body saying, hey man, enough's enough. You can't do this anymore. And I know that you can only drink for so long. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you start to have organ failure. Things go south, and they tend to go south rather fast when they do. But I knew in my head at some point that alcohol was probably going to kill me, and I was just totally okay with it. I just remember thinking to myself, oh, I've lived a great life. I've done a lot of cool stuff. I'm happy. All of that's true. I literally, just another point about being able to function and doing, really living a good life. In 2017, I was able to spend 8.5 months just hiking the Appalachian Trail. That was an amazing experience that most people will wait a lifetime trying to do, most of which will never carve out the time to actually do it. And I was able to actually do that, put myself in the position to do that. And that's the only times I didn't drink. I've spoke about that in a previous video too, is literally, you're hiking from town to town, and there may be 4, 5, 6 days from town to town. And I was just too lazy to pack out enough alcohol with me to drink every single night, though I always packed out some sort of alcohol to at least drink the first night or two. And then when I got into town, to resupply and all, get a shower and all that, my priority was always getting alcohol. And then I spent too much time in towns generally because I was drinking, or I'd wake up hungover and didn't want to go hike, mountains all day. Anyways, I mean, I've lived just such a great experience with, while drinking, like being a highly functioning alcoholic, and knowing now that I was willing to let it kill me is crazy. What kind of control is that? It's not. It's like being in a prison. I literally thought I was living the best life that I could, so I didn't know I was in a prison, but I was totally okay with letting alcohol kill me, which is crazy. I spoke about in my last video that it did kill my brother. It was tragic to lose him over alcohol, and that never even made me slow down. Never once did I think to quit drinking. I was that selfish. Alcohol had that much of a hold on me. I was in that much of a prison with alcohol that the death of my brother never even slowed me down. It is just wild to me to think back now and realize that I literally was okay with dying. How dangerous is that? It's absolutely crazy. And there's no way I'm the only one that has that experience, or, is dealing with that or dealt with that. It's just absolutely mind-bending to me to think. I remember a specific time. I was with my parents. We had a short little vacation we had taken. And I remember exactly where I was standing and what I'm doing. And my kidneys hurt so bad. I had been dehydrated. I was drinking a lot on that trip. I remember we went looking at some waterfalls and stuff in the mountains and still being drunk when I got up the next morning, and like hiking to waterfalls still drunk. And then fast forward a day or two into that vacation, and I remember my kidneys hurting, and like just knowing in my head that my kidneys are going to fail at any time. And what did I do? That night I was drinking. Didn't make a difference to me. Absolutely crazy. So, if you're struggling with drinking, maybe you're in that situation, and maybe this possibly just woke you up to it. Maybe it's obvious to you at this point. But if you're struggling with it, listen, I'm here to tell you, stopping drinking is literally just a decision. It's far more simple than it's made out to be. It seems a lot more scary than it really is, but it's literally just a decision. I highly recommend that you make that decision. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. If you think this will help somebody, somebody this might help, share it with them. Share it with somebody that's going to share it with somebody that's going to share it with somebody to get the word out. Good talk.